I am done. I am done. I'm done.
Wait. You need to be very clear. I need clarity.
Okay.
What does that mean I'm done?
I am done doing this with you.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 14, Episode 6. And before we get into it, let me start off by saying that Miss Kyle Richards, I need you to come right on over to the front because the way I plan on whacking you from beginning, middle, and end, you tried it. And Miss Mamas, you are as wrong as two left shoes because you know good and damn well that if the tables were turned, you would be on Dorit's you know what. Like, let's just stop. All of the gaslighting, the playing dumb, acting like you're the victim, and Dorit is out of order for confronting you about why you're texting her husband, but you're not talking to her. What game are we playing? And what really got me was on the after show, you're talking about, does Dorit have morals? Why is she doing this? Like, what are we doing here? Are you okay? Are you well? Kyle, you're another one that needs to go see the lady. Because for you to sit up here and play in Dorit's face, play in all of our faces, no ma'am. Now, Miss Sutton Strack, you know that I've really been in your corner heavy, but Sutton is working my last good nerve this season. We need to talk about that conversation that you had with Bose because I didn't love what you said. And how you're maneuvering with Dorit is also pissing me off as well. But as you guys can see, I have a lot to say because this episode was explosive. So without further ado, let's just get right on into it because you guys already know that we don't have a minute to spare. So we open up this episode with a few short scenes. We see Garcelle at home with her son Jade, and they're looking at the photo shoot pictures that they did a few weeks ago. Now, it was a bit interesting because Garcelle's telling her son about when she broke into modeling, there was Beverly Johnson, Iman, Naomi Campbell, and then you have her son talking about, oh, I have no idea who any of those people are. And I said, wait, what? Even if you haven't heard of Beverly Johnson or Iman, you're telling me that you've never heard or seen Naomi Campbell? Like, Naomi Campbell is still walking the runway. I'm just saying, I was a bit taken aback by that. Now we cut to Dorit at home. She's watching her daughter Phoenix practice her ballet moves for her ballet recital that's coming up. And again, a cute scene. We love the kids. And I'm happy to see that Dorit is trying to create some normalcy despite what's going on with her and PK. So now we jump on over to Bose and we see that she's out on a picnic date with her man Keely. So I thought it was a cute setup. He had charcuterie and champagne. And we love both around here. So 1 point for you, Keely. But sir, I do have a few reservations. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. But anyhow, we cut to Bose's confessional and she says that her and Keely have been dating for several months and it's a long distance relationship. She's in LA and he's in San Diego. I don't know if I would classify that as a long distance relationship because you guys are in the same state. San Diego to LA, that's what, like a 2.5 hour drive? It's not that far, but you know what? Traffic on the 405 is no joke. And I get it. But she goes on to say that they spice things up and they talk multiple times a day. So remember how I said about 30 seconds ago that I have my good eye on Keely and I have some reservations about him? Keely gives a toast saying, cheers to another date and our business endeavors. And I said, wait, come again? What did he say? Y'all know how I feel about getting into business with your man or making your man your manager, especially if the woman is the breadwinner.
No.
Now, I'm not saying that Keely is broke. This beach date was cute. He pulled up in the BMW X5, X7. So he has a few dollars in his pocket, hopefully. But what I'm saying is that I don't think that women, especially on The Real Housewives, need to be going into business with these men. I think that it's a recipe for disaster and it's a red flag. And Bose, I love you down. But I really hope that you're not naive and you have your eyes wide open. And I also got some weird vibes when Bose asked him, are you dating for marriage? And he said, of course, that's the only reason why I'm dating. And then when she went on to ask him, so where are we in that process? And he didn't even answer her. He was like, oh, I knew you would ask that. And then he goes on to say, well, right now it's me and you. And I was thinking, sir, you didn't answer her question. Maybe it's just a me thing, but I'm not asking a man about where are we in the marriage process, or do you see me and you getting married? No. I feel like that's a bit too close to begging. And begging feels like desperation, and this is a desperation-free zone. Like, I feel like the man should be leading that conversation, not the woman. Just my thoughts and my opinions. But his answer to me was questionable, and I'm just praying that he's not a user. Again, that might sound cynical, but you can never be too sure. And Bose, I just want you to be vigilant and not get swept up where you're missing obvious and glaring red flags. So now we jump on over to Dorit and Erika meeting up for a cute dinner and some drinks. So they're making small talk. Erika's asking how she's doing, how are her parents doing, and we find out from Dorit that her parents came into town last night. So Dorit says that her parents are great, and then she adds that she didn't know how much longer she could hold on by herself, and her parents came right to her rescue just in time. So now Dorit brings up her kids. She shares the news that she just came from her daughter Phoenix's ballet recital and how Phoenix killed it because she was the lead. So since they're on the topic of Dorit's kids, Dorit says that she is able to compartmentalize her feelings for the kids. So we find out that on Monday, Dorit and PK are supposed to go for a therapy session, and she says that she's tired of PK talking to her in a very aggressive and disrespectful tone. So she goes on to say that PK would always talk to her poorly, and in return, she would speak to him the same way. And she's not trying to live like that anymore. So now Dorit goes on to say that she's not in a place right now where she can say if she wants to be completely done with him. And now Erika jumps in and says that as long as PK is getting sober, Dorit needs to leave the door open just a little bit. And then she says, you can't slam the door on him as he's getting sober. I've noticed that Erika is very much stand by your man, even if he's cheating on you, an alcoholic, talking to you crazy. And it makes sense why she stood by Tom for so long, because she's very much, well, you know, I'm going to stand beside him, even if we don't get along and we hate each other. And that's really sad. But Erika, I do want to also add that Dorit can hold open the door all she wants to, but if PK does not want to walk through said door, then there's no point in Dorit holding out on hope. And we see later on that PK is done. So your advice about, well, don't slam the door on him, I'm like, girl, she needs to close it shut because PK wants out. He's wanted out the entire marriage, if you ask me. The way he was always gone on these business trips. Last season, it was revealed that he hadn't been home in like 48 days. He was all the way in Europe. The writings have been on the wall that PK has had one foot out the entire time. So I don't think that it's fair to say, well, you know, keep the door open for him. No, he needs to keep it open for himself if he wants this. But his actions show that he doesn't want the marriage. So now they get off of PK and they bring up what went down at Kyle's Denim and Diamonds party. So Erika says, girl, last night you were on fire. So Dorit says, look, I've been too forgiving for too long and people have mistaken my kindness for weakness. So Erika's like, well, girl, not last night. So Dorit brings up what Sutton said to her, and Erika says, yup, she just proved how low she'll go. And Dorit says that it's the complete opposite of sisterhood. So Erika agrees, and now we cut to Erika's confessional where she says that Sutton has mistreated her, kicked her at her lowest point, did the same thing to Kyle last season, and now she's doing it with Dorit. Now, Erika, here's why I have to call you out, because let's not do this. Is Sutton wrong for how she's doing Dorit right now? Yes. But for you to turn this around and act like Sutton has always been the villain, that's not true and you know it. Because with your situation, when all the stuff hit the fan about your ex-husband Tom, while everybody else was talking about you behind your back, Sutton was the only one who offered you money. Production showed the cutout footage of her pulling you to the side and saying, hey girl, how are you doing? Do you need money? If so, I can cut you a check right now. I got you. Nobody else did that. So let's not rewrite history and act like Sutton was a horrible person to you. She wasn't. You are just somebody where if it's not what you want to hear, then you're upset about it and you hate them. You were mad that Sutton had the balls to ask you outright, did you know about any of this stuff? How do you feel? How do you feel about the victims? You were angry at her for that. But she definitely was not kicking you while you were down. But we close out the scene with Dorit saying that it's been going on for years and years and she's tired of this pattern. So now we jump on over to a really touching scene with Garcelle, her oldest son Oliver, Jade's girlfriend, and her grandson Oliver Jr. So they pull up to her beach house and I love how her oldest son was just so grateful and appreciative when they were touring the house. He was like, Mom, I'm so proud of you. This is amazing. And I just said, I love to see it. Like, I'm just so happy that Garcelle's hard work has been paying off because this beach house is phenomenal. She did that. And I love to see Black women thriving.
Bling, bling, bling. Bitches is mad.
And a quick side note, I hope that we see more of Garcelle's beach house. I know that, I think it was Erika or I think maybe Kyle said in a recent interview that they do spend time as a group at Garcelle's beach house. So I can't wait for that. But Garcelle, you did that. A 10 out of 10, beautifully decorated, beautifully furnished, just stunning. Did anybody else get a bit choked up when Garcelle said, if you would have told me when I was little that I would have the life that I have now, I wouldn't have believed you? I was teary-eyed when she said that because it truly shows you that there is nothing that you can't have, be, or do if you put in the work and you follow your dreams and you just stay in your lane. And I know that sounds corny or cliche, but it goes to show you that you can accomplish so much and you don't know what's out there for you, but you just have to believe in yourself and tune out the noise. But they all go down to the kitchen to enjoy a nice dinner. And remember, Garcelle ordered takeout, so you know that that food was delicious. But baby, the way I had to get up and get a snack during this scene because this spread had my mouth watering. I'm salivating right now just talking about it. She had chicken, mashed potatoes, veggies. It looked like they had yams, rice, red wine. Y'all, let me stop. Let me not focus too much on the food. But yes, that was a spread. So Garcelle's excited and she says that she can't believe that they're having a family dinner at the beach house. And now we cut to her confessional and she says, I'm just so happy. My boys are doing great, along with my relationship with my oldest son, Oliver. And she says, we've come a long way. Now we remember when Garcelle first joined the show, she did share a little bit about her oldest son's addiction issues. We haven't heard a whole lot about it, but she did touch on it just a bit. But we do find out a lot more in this confessional. Garcelle opens up and shares that Oliver was in a very dark place for quite some time. So she says that she feels a lot of emotions, guilt and fear, and she'll ask herself, what did I do wrong? So now Garcelle continues on about how she had to administer tough love, and at one point Oliver was homeless. So now Garcelle tells a story of how a few years ago she was at home, a friend was over, it was late at night, and all of a sudden they hear a noise. So she says she turns the light on, she opens the door to see what's out there, and she says it's her son. She goes on to say that it was all in his eyes, the way he was acting was really erratic, it was a mess. So things got really bad because he tried to break into the pool house and she was screaming for him to stop. She was contemplating calling up her ex-husband Mike for help because she had no idea what to do in this situation. So now we find out that Garcelle watched him walk away that night and it was the hardest thing knowing that she could not let him in the house. So she says she felt 1,000 pounds of guilt. And as the story went on, I just really felt bad. I said, Garcelle, kudos to you for doing what needed to be done in that situation. I can only imagine how you felt. And I really am happy to see that things are a lot better with your son. And you can't beat yourself up about that. I mean, I know it might not mean a whole lot for me. I don't have kids. I'm not a parent yet, so I don't know what that's like. But kudos to you for doing what you thought was best in that moment. And obviously it was the right thing to do. But Garcelle goes on to say that thank God for her grandson, OJ, and how her son, Oliver, is a great father and he's doing a great job. Now, Garcelle, you're about to be welcoming another grandchild because you and Sutton threw Oliver and his new girlfriend a baby shower a few months ago. And I think that they're expecting a girl. So it's going to be your first granddaughter. But all in all, I thought the scene was touching. I enjoyed it. I always love seeing that beach house. It's gorgeous. And one more thing. I'm aware that everybody does not have the same faves. I'm aware that nobody is above critique. I've had my critiques of Garcelle in these recent episodes, as you guys know. But I did see a few people on Twitter talking about, oh, Garcelle bringing this up about her son is so stale and she's talked about this before. Where is her storyline? Let's not do that. Garcelle has never gone into full-blown detail about her son and his substance issues. She's finally pouring her heart out now. Let her do that. We see on Salt Lake City, Mary's been very vulnerable and very open about what she's going through with Robert Jr., with his substance abuse issues. So I feel like let's give Garcelle the same space and energy to share her story too. So now we jump on over to Dorit, and she has her parents there, her kids are there. She's prepping because Bose is coming over. Now Bose, when you pulled up in that gorgeous pink Porsche, I said, yes, ma'am. That Porsche was stunning. Bose, you have great taste. I love your home, the car, chef's kiss. Don't let this man trick you out of your spot, okay, girl? Preserve the coins. I thought it was so cute when Dorit was introducing Bose to her family. And when I tell you that Dorit's mom was enamored by Bose, she was like, oh, it's so nice to meet you. Gave her a kiss on the cheek. She was staring into the depths of her soul. I said, oh, okay. I said, yes, honey, all that black beauty just had Dorit's family shook. The dad was like, oh, it's so lovely to meet you. We've heard so many good things. The kids were in awe. I just loved it. So we cut to Bose's confessional, and she says that she loves Dorit. She says that Dorit is fashionable, she's bubbly, and Dorit gives you some details in a story. She says she likes to talk, and I like to listen. It's a match made in heaven. Now, I know quite a few of y'all don't see it for Dorit. You still are harboring ill feelings from the prior seasons. I get it. But I'm never going to lie to y'all. I'm liking this friendship with her and Bose. It feels organic to me. It feels genuine. I think that they really are about to be good friends on and off camera. They have chemistry. Whether you want to say that Dorit's trying to rehab her image, you cannot sit up here and lie and tell me in my face that there's no connection between Bose and Dorit, because there absolutely is. I like their friendship. Feel free to get mad. Feel free to whack me, but be cute about it. Be respectful. But I'm just telling my truth and nothing but my truth, okay? I like them together, and I see them being a really cute duo. But they go outside to talk and eat, and Dorit, that was a really cute spread that you had. Bose was like, oh, that looks good. I said, it does look good. So Dorit is a bit paranoid because she looks back to make sure that the doors are closed. She says, I'm sorry about that, but I had to double check because our kids still don't know what's going on, so I don't want them to hear us talking about this whole separation. So Dorit spills all the tea. She's like, girl, listen. Me and PK went to therapy on Monday, and our session was 4 hours long. So then she goes on to say that PK came in for battle, And at one point during therapy, PK blurted out, I want a divorce. I don't want to be married to this woman anymore. And when I tell you, Bose is me. Because Bose is like, girl, what? No. And I said, I'm the same way. When you tell me some really good gossip, I'm like, wait, what? I'm very expressive and animated. So me and Bose, we see each other with that as well. So Dorit's like, yes, girl, I know. It was my first time hearing that too. I felt blindsided. Now, Dorit, respectfully, I personally feel like PK was showing signs that he was already out the door last season. Him always going on those business trips for 40 days at a time, you not seeing each other. He felt annoyed by your PTSD from the robbery that took place in season 12. The writings were on the wall that he had low-key checked out. I feel like everybody saw the signs except for you. I was always taught you never let a man tell you more than once that he doesn't want you. So the minute that he said that in therapy, that would have been the end of the therapy session. I would have picked up my Chanel, walked right out the door, and drove right to the nearest divorce lawyer's office and drafted up divorce papers. Because if you don't want me, that's fine, but let me get up out of here and go on and live my life and move on. And the audacity of PK to act like he can't stand her and he wants out. Sir, have you seen you? You should be thanking God every day that Dorit even gave you the time of day. The audacity. But Dorit says that when she walked out of therapy that day, she said, it's time for me to start preparing because he's too unpredictable. And I said, girl, you should have been preparing yesterday. And word on the street is that your home is in foreclosure right now because PK stopped paying the mortgage. Girl, please get out of there. Leave that man and all his bankruptcies and all his casino debts, allegedly. Leave them over there. Divorce him and find somebody else. And Dorit could do so much better anyway. So now they change gears and Bose brings up what went down at Kyle's party the other night. And she says, I was shocked when I saw that interaction between you and Camille. Dorit had me screaming. She was like, girl, that was a long time coming. And we all know that that beef with Camille and Dorit goes way back. Because Camille was over there saying, girl, you're broke and you're a fraud. And you and PK live beyond your means and don't have the money. Bose was too funny because she goes on to ask, why was she there? So now Dorit says, not only that, she deliberately didn't tell me that she would be there. And I said, now, Dorit, let's just pause for a minute. You and Kyle have had a really rocky friendship for these last 9 months. Camille has always been at all of Kyle's parties in the past. So you can't be that surprised that Camille was there. Because when you and Kyle were like this, Camille was there. Nobody said anything about it. And with you and Kyle being on the outs right now, you really can't expect for Kyle to call you up and say, oh, by the way, Camille's going to be there. But Dorit says that she's kept her mouth shut for a lot of years and that's why she's fed up now. So now they bring up Sutton. And Bose says, may I be honest, it really hurt my feelings when Sutton said to you that you're just mad about your life. So now we cut to Bose's confessional and she says, there's not a situation in this group of ladies where they don't go after each other. I don't know if it's passion, delusion, or psychosis, but they will catch it and then throw it back in your face. And now we cut right back to Bose telling Dorit that that's the hard part about friendship, being open and vulnerable. And then she goes on to say that on one hand, Sutton tells you that she's there for you and she wants to help you. And then on the other hand, she weaponizes what you tell her and then stabs you in the back. Now, again, not to get off topic and not to come across as preachy, but y'all know where I stand about friendship and telling your secrets. Don't. There needs to be some stuff that is going to the grave with you that nobody is going to find out except for you and the God that you serve. Because even if you and that friend don't fall out, just know that they have somebody else that they're going to run back and tell your business to. Or if you guys do fall out, they will throw it in your face. People do not need to know your insecurities, your darkest times. If you feel like you have to share them with somebody, make sure that if you guys do fall out or if they do tell it, make sure that it's something that you don't mind it getting out to people. So Bose is right about that is the hard part about friendship and opening up, because there's a fine line. Your friends don't need to know everything, because you see how Sutton said, oh girl, look at you. You're just mad because you're unhappy with your life. Girl, what? Not when 2 episodes ago you were sitting up there trying to have a heart-to-heart with me saying, girl, I want to be there for you. And, I love you as a friend and, I have your back. And now you want to sit up there and embarrass me in front of our friend group? Stop. Now, this short scene with Erika at home and the famous interior designer, Martyn Lawrence Bullard, I don't have too much to say about it. It was a cute scene, but again, I don't have so much commentary. But Erika, I really hope that this is the last season of you throwing a pity party for yourself for being in a smaller house. Because if I hear you say one more time that you lost everything, you lost it all, and you came from 20,000 square feet to less than 2,000 square feet, enough already. Yes, I'm sure it is jarring to go from millions of dollars in the bank and a massive home to a smaller home, but you're still living well. You still make over $500,000 on the show. You're still driving a brand new Porsche. You have designer clothes. You look good. And again, I'm not trying to downplay what Erika's gone through, but at the same time, it has been 4 years. You're still doing well. So now we see everybody getting glammed up because they're getting ready to go to the Viper Room to watch Erika perform her new single. So now we cut to Garcelle getting ready, and while she's getting glammed, she's telling her makeup artist about how Erika is being honored tonight by the GLAAD Association at the Viper Room. So then she's like, oh, by the way, doesn't Johnny Depp own it? And now she tells a story of how when she was at a club in Miami, Johnny Depp was there and they ended up making out. So I just said, when I tell you, I would like to hear more stories from Garcelle, because I feel like Garcelle has definitely had a good old time in Hollywood, and I want to hear all about it. So now we jump on over to Erika. She's at home and she's talking to her personal assistant. So now we see Dorit call her up, and of course Dorit is asking her how does she feel about tonight? Is she excited? So now Dorit brings up the whole PK and Kyle texting issue. So she's like, did you know anything about this? And Erika's like, girl, I didn't know anything about that. I asked you because I have no idea. You can tell that Erika's getting a bit tired of being in the middle, but Erika, I'm going to need you to pick a side. The same way you were getting mad when folks were playing neutral through your whole ordeal, I need you to woman up and just say, I'm on Dorit's side or I'm on Kyle's side. But on the after show, it's sort of giving that you're on Kyle's side. I don't know, but I'm getting tired of you also being in the middle as well. So Dorit says that she doesn't know if they're still talking, and then she says, I wouldn't put it past PK. So Dorit goes on to say that that's the kind of person that PK is. He wants to know every detail of her life, while she doesn't know anything about his life. So Dorit continues on and says that she does think that it's worth her asking Kyle if Kyle and PK are still in communication, because they've always had a friendship. And then she adds that since her and PK aren't even talking right now, any info that she can get is very helpful. So you have Erika saying that tonight's the perfect night for Dorit to bring this all up and have that conversation. And I said, Erika, you are messy as hell for that, because you know good and damn well that all hell is about to break loose the minute Dorit brings this up. And that's exactly what happened at the end. So we're at the Viper Room and we see Garcelle pull up first. Garcelle, this outfit, this look was definitely one of the better looks. I didn't hate it. I thought it was cute. I did like the shoes. Let's keep it going, okay? But yeah, this outfit was cute. So now we see Kyle. Kyle's there with Kesha, the singer. We learned from Kyle that they became friends through Instagram. She says that she noticed that Kesha was following her and then she DM'd her and then they became friends. And then you have Kyle being smug saying, yes, Kesha's a musician, we're friends, let the rumors begin. And I said, Kyle, here's why you are one of the most insufferable housewives, because you love to play in folks' faces. You know good and damn well that we're not going to talk about you and Kesha being together because we know that you guys are friends. The reason why we spoke on you and Morgan last season, you went on about 11 vacations together. Y'all were in Paris together, St. Bart's, Saint-Tropez, matching tattoos. Every time you're around her, you're showing all 32 teeth. The way you danced around any questions about your sexuality and how you were figuring things out all last season. It was clear that you were in love, lust, you had a crush on that girl. And let's not forget that Brazzers-styled music video that you guys did. But yet you want to sit up here and play on our intelligence like we're the crazy ones after we witnessed a whole season of you clearly having feelings for another woman. But yet you want to gaslight us. Stop. So now we jump over to Sutton and Jennifer Tilly on their way over, and Sutton is saying that she's a bit nervous because of what Bo said to her at Kyle's party the other night about how she weaponized Dorit's pain. And now you have Sutton saying, does Bo's not like me because Dorit's telling her stuff about me? And I said, Sutton, that's not it. I think that Bose has been sitting back in the cut, quietly observing everybody, and she's realizing and making her own conclusions about certain people in this group. And I think that anybody could objectively say that you throwing that in Dorit's face at that party was really messed up. So let's not make this into it's Dorit putting things in Bose's head. No, I think that Bose is receptive. She's observant, and she's putting two and two together for herself. So at this point, we see a lot of the ladies at the Viper Room, and now Bose shows up. So as Bose is hugging Kyle, Kyle's finger gets stuck in Bose's bracelet. So now you have Jennifer Tilly joking around, and she says, oh, is that a bracelet or is it a weapon? So now Sutton jumps in trying to be funny, and no offense, Sutton, but the joke did not land. So she's like, are you going to be weaponizing? And the way Bose caught the shade, she was like, oh, yes, I am. So now you have Sutton saying, don't weaponize against me. And I said, hold on, girl, hold on. Let's watch our words and let's not do that. Bose calling you out at Kyle's party is not her weaponizing against you. Let's be so for real. Bose had me screaming in her confessional. She was like, baby, this bracelet, that's the least of your concerns. Sutton does not want to strike first with me. That's not what she wants. I said, let her know, Bose.
Let him know, Greg.
Oh, I can show a
Honk the
picture.
horn on their ass. Toot, toot, boop, boop. Bam.
I think Sutton is barking up the wrong tree, and I just don't like how Sutton's acting super sensitive because somebody called her out. So now we cut to Bose and Sutton at the bar, and they're hashing things out. So Sutton says, I didn't like that word weaponize. And Bose explains why she used that word. She says, I used that word because it felt like you fashioned it to hurt somebody. So you have Sutton saying, I wasn't trying to hurt her. Now, Sutton, saying to somebody, your life is effed up, that's why you're mad. What do you think that is? So you have Sutton making excuses, and she says, I've been through a divorce, I've gone through it. And Bose says, look, girl, at that very moment, you seem very angry. So Sutton says, I wasn't angry, I was defensive. So now we cut to Sutton's confessional, and you have her throwing some slight shade, saying that if Bose put half the energy and attention into their relationship versus her and Dorit's relationship, then she would understand her point of view. And what really pissed me off was how you said if she understood your point of view, she wouldn't jump in and use words like weaponize and insult you. And I said, did she insult you, or are you just upset that you're being called out? Because there's a difference. And I'm sorry, Sutton, but it's giving low-key Karen for you to be this upset that Bose called you out. May I ask you, what did this comment mean when you said to Bose, you speak so eloquently? What does that mean? How else is she supposed to sound? I said, I know that we've talked about Dorit, but Miss Sutton Strack, let's talk about you because I didn't appreciate that comment. So now we cut to Bose's confessional, and she says, that Sutton appears to be nice and peaceful, but there is another side of her that makes her appear either mean, delusional, or calculating. Now, did anybody catch that moment when Cashapp walked over to the group and she was saying hi to everybody, and then when she stopped and complimented Dorit's dress, and she was like, oh, you're just so chic, you're the fashion girly. Kyle's face looks so upset because we know that Kyle always has to be center of attention. It's always about her, and she cannot stand for somebody else to get a compliment. Because I caught that look. I said, oh, I said, girl, I caught that. I said, you're mad, aren't you? So Erika arrives, and one thing about it, Erika is going to always give you a look. I like the ponytail. I love the outfit, very sexy. And she gets up on stage, performs her single. I think the single was called Dominoes or something like that. But either way, she performs her song, and now she gets off the stage and goes to hang out with her girls. Now, we all know that Dorit is activated this season, but the way I was shocked at how quickly Dorit got stuff started, because they had just sat down and Dorit's like, all right, Kyle, so what's this thing about you texting my husband? I said, well, damn. So Kyle looks nervous, and she says that her friendship with PK has always been memes and jokes, and PK does not share anything personal about their relationship. So Dorit's like, girl, that's all well and good, but have you spoken to my husband? Has he sent you a meme in the last 7 days? Yes or no? So you have Kyle stuttering and stammering, and she says, has he sent me a meme or a joke in the last week? I mean, yeah, I think so. And I said, Kyle, this really makes sense to you in your pea brain to be sharing jokes with this lady's husband, knowing that they're separated, and you haven't even picked up the phone and called her? That makes sense to you? So Dorit's like, girl, memes or jokes or not, it's not even about all that. The point is, you are talking to my husband via text when we're separated and you and I aren't even talking, and that's not okay. So one thing about Kyle, anytime she's called out, it's always 1,000,001 excuses. She's talking about, well, if it ever got to a point where you guys weren't getting along, obviously I'm a girl's girl, I would stop. So Dorit says, well, since you said that, him and I are not getting along, so now what? And of course you have Kyle looking stupid, face cracked, and she's like, oh really? I didn't know that. So now we cut to Dorit's confessional, and she says, if the shoe were on the other foot, Kyle would not be okay with that. And she would not let me get away with pretending like I don't know what's wrong. And Dorit, I will always give you your propers. When you're right, because we know for a fact that if the shoe were on the other foot, if the tables were turned, Kyle would be on your ass. So Dorit shares that things between her and PK are not good at all. And then on top of that, PK is making her life difficult. So now we have Garcelle jump in, and she's asking Dorit, well, how so? How is PK making your life difficult? Now, I have to just give a little slight whack to Garcelle again. And feel free to get mad. I don't care anymore. It's a new year. I'm not holding back my opinions. It is what it is, right? But Garcelle, you've made it clear that you don't like Dorit, so it's really weird, in my humble opinion, for you to be jumping in, asking Dorit personal questions about her soon-to-be divorce, whatever you want to call this. You don't like this lady. So it's just coming across as strange as to why you keep trying to get information out of Dorit when you don't like her. Also, I might be off base here. Let me know. I'm getting the impression that you actually want to be friends with Dorit, and that her paying you dust is getting to you. Again, just my 2 cents, but I just feel like, Garcelle, if you can't stand this woman, then pay her dust right back. So Dorit says that he's halting communication, and that makes things difficult because they have 2 small children that they're currently trying to shield all this from. So now Sutton jumps in and makes things worse. She's like, well, you can't shield them forever. And listen, I agree with Sutton. but it's just the wrong time for you to jump in and say anything. Dorit was livid. She was like, well, obviously I can't shield them forever. That's a pretty strong statement. So now you have Sutton saying, don't get mad at me. And I said, now Sutton girl, you need to learn how to keep your mouth shut sometimes. So Sutton brings up the conversation / heart to heart that they had on the boat. And Dorit's like, oh, the same conversation where you said that I could lean on you? Is that the conversation? So child, of course, Sutton and Dorit start going at it. And I said, Sutton, I personally feel like an apology should have been made. You should have said, Dorit, I'm sorry for what I said to you at Kyle's party. That was messed up. And also, Sutton, I understand that you've gone through a big divorce too, and it was traumatizing, and you want to help all the ladies out. But sometimes you have to realize that not everybody wants your help. And that's okay. I think the best thing for you in this case is to stay out of it. And if Dorit comes to you for help or has any questions, let her come to you. But the constant, well, I went through it and I want to help out, just leave it alone. Like I said, everybody doesn't always want your help, no matter how good your intentions are. Sometimes folks have to just do things their way. So now Erika interjects to defend Dorit, and she says, well, I think she's upset because you insulted her at Kyle's party. So you pretty much have Sutton doubling down on what she said, and she said, no, I've been there for her. I've been defending her. Am I the only one who's getting a bit annoyed by Sutton? Because I really am. She was pissing me off. I'm not going to hold you. I just said, Sutton, either own up to what you've said or just be quiet. But you have Sutton reiterating that she meant what she said about if Dorit calls her, she'll be there for her. Then she goes on to say, well, just forget it. Then we see Erika's confessional and she says, that's what I'm talking about. All this talk about sisterhood and openness is all BS. Now, do I think that Sutton does want to have a sisterhood in this group? Yes. But I do feel like Sutton goes about things the wrong way. And she's also very high-strung, if that's the word for her. But Sutton is a very interesting woman. She has a very interesting personality. And I just feel like right now, currently in this season, she's doing a lot. So now we have Sutton screaming about how her and Dorit aren't friends then. And she's like, well, we're not friends. We're just cordial. And I just said, Sutton, you're doing too much. Calm down. And Dorit was so over it. She was like, okay, girl, like, I guess I really don't care. Did anybody else feel like Sutton was acting in a very erratic manner? And everybody else was over Sutton's antics because Kyle jumps in and says, all right, well, back to us. So now you have Sutton saying, yeah, go talk to your actual friend. Talk to your real friend then. And I said, again, Sutton, let's take it down a few notches. I'm not understanding where all this energy is coming from, but it's getting weird. So Kyle says, Dorit, regardless of our situation, if I would have known that the memes and the jokes pissed you off, I would have never done that. So now Bose jumps in and comments that when she first heard that, she was taken aback and she was like, oh, that's a violation of girl code. So let me just stop right here because Kyle, you were talking all that mess about Bose in the after show. I didn't appreciate that. For you to say, oh, you know, and Bose saying that, it's like, girl, you don't even know PK. You just met Dorit 2 minutes ago and you don't even know me like that. Like, stop. I said the same way that you've commented on people that you just met, Bose can do the same thing. The viewers who don't know you, we all think it's weird, so we can't comment on that either. Anytime you're called out for your BS, you always want to flip it like everybody else is crazy. And your justification for texting PK on the after show was PK acts like a girl and he's like a petty, gossiping teenager, so that's why you do it. Baby, I don't care what PK acts like at his big age. At the end of the day, that's still Dorit's husband. So now we cut to Kyle's confessional and she's like, where is this coming from? Are you kidding me, Dorit? For you to say this, for you to dig this up, it's like you just want to do this to be mad. And I said, oh, the same way that you dug up what happened at BravoCon 2 years ago, when that was clearly a joke, you used that to be upset with Dorit, but Dorit actually has a legitimate gripe and you want to downplay how she feels. Kyle, you really need help. The audacity. And then when you added, and if I'm being honest, PK's been a better friend to me lately than Dorit has. I said, okay, girl. But anyhow, Kyle says that if people were texting Mauricio, she wouldn't have an issue with it. And Dorit says, the point is, I wouldn't even feel comfortable to do that. And this bears repeating, but Kyle, if the shoe were on the other foot, you would be going insane. And let's not forget that when you and Mauricio were happily married, you said many times out of your own mouth that you were a very jealous wife. You made jokes about that constantly. There was one time when you and Mauricio threw that white party, a woman came up to dance with Mauricio, and you pushed that woman on camera, cursed her out and everything, called her a weirdo, a bitch, whatever. You're a very jealous woman when it comes to your husband. So I don't believe for a minute that a friend could just innocently text Mauricio and you'd be okay with that. So for you to turn around and act like Dorit is in the wrong for calling you out, Kyle, you're out of order. There's no other way to slice it. So now we have Kyle screaming that she's done, and Dorit says, wait, hold on. Let's be clear about that. What does that mean? And Kyle says, that means I'm done. I tried. I'm just done with this whole thing. And then she calls Dorit bitter. Now see, Kyle, I would have read you for filth. I would have said, oh, you want to call me bitter? Broke up your whole marriage for a woman who's half your age, but yeah, you want to call me bitter. Like, Kyle, just the nerve of you. And if she is bitter for a moment, so what? She had to deal with PK for what, 13 years? He's telling her that he wants a divorce. He was most likely already stepping out when they were married. He was never home. I'm sure she is bitter. So Dorit's like, bitter? Really? All I'm asking is that you not speak to me with your veins popping out your forehead. So now you have Kyle screaming and she's like, I'm sorry. What more do you want from me? I said, oh my gosh. Kyle, how do you make yourself out to be the victim in every scenario? So Dorit says, I want you to stop raising your effing voice and talking to me like that. So child, things obviously get lit because we have the group trying to break them up because it looks like it's about to get physical.
Everybody,
Whoa!
you don't get to speak to me that way. Do you understand, Kyle? The rules are different. If you don't get to scream, you.
And on the after show, Garcelle said that at one point things got so bad that she really thought that it was about to be a real fight. But we close out the episode with Dorit screaming that Kyle does not get to yell at her and scream at her and say F you to her. We hear Kyle saying shut up. And then we hear a glass being thrown. I was like, wait, let me find out that we are throwing glasses and fighting on Beverly Hills. I was like, damn, it was like that. But we see a to be continued flash on our screens, and that's where the episode ends. But Dorit Hemsley said she's big Dorit, not the little one, and you will not speak to her in any way whatsoever. And Kyle, you should really feel ashamed and embarrassed to double down and play stupid and not just own up to what you've done. But guys, that was my recap. As y'all can see, I had a lot to say. Thank you all so much for watching. And you already know what to do. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all later. Bye.